4, 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to Racing World, brought to you by Perspective Group. It's your motorsport podcast show in conjunction with Race Control Magazine.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Racing World. Well, today I'm coming from downtown Tokyo, actually. I'm currently locked in my room. It's a bit of a lockdown day here, so there's not a lot of space in the room, that's for sure. When you've got to climb over your suitcase to get out of the door, you realise that you're in a small room. But anyway, it's another edition of Racing World. Sorry we missed last week. We got caught up with travel and all sorts of things. So the first thing I thought I'd do, just as something a little bit different, is I just diarised for you what it was like to travel from New Zealand to Tokyo for the Olympics and my travel that took place last week. And then we'll get into all things, which is what this podcast is about, motorsport. Oh well, here we go. Next stop Singapore, stop after that Tokyo and the Olympics. Pretty barren sight here at Auckland Airport. A couple of buses, about 20 people. That's all, so it's very surreal. Even though it's been like this for a long time, it's very, very surreal. Anyway, we'll have updates across the day. It's time to go and do that board in, mask up as they say, and we'll see you soon. So the scenes at Auckland Airport were really just quite mind-blowing, really. It was just so quiet. All these shops were closed. The duty-free stores were closed. It was a very unreal feeling, one that I'd certainly not experienced in all the years I've been travelling. And it just made you realise that whilst we might sit at home and watch motorsport and things on the television, the rest of the world is doing it hard. And it was no different when I got on the plane. Very few people. We had a 777 airline all the way through to Singapore, and there was about 55 people on it, so it kind of said a lot as well. And then arriving in Singapore, the scenes in Singapore airport, when I transited through Singapore, again, it was just this deserted airport. I spent 2.5 hours there. Very little to do, very restricted space that you go in as a transit passenger, and again, it left you feeling quite hollow. Onward to Tokyo, I arrived into Tokyo at 8 o'clock in the morning. We have to do a lot of COVID testing as a result of being here to cover the Olympics for television for the worldwide broadcaster, Olympic Broadcasting, whom I work for, and it took nearly 5 hours to get through the airport. A lot of tests, a lot of paperwork. Very secure. You don't really feel necessarily at risk, but you know that you're going through the motions. And then the scenes really, it was a wet day. We've had wet days pretty much since I've been here, which is over a week now. Streets are not that busy. Everyone's masked up. Restrictions at work are very, very strict. Seating, dining, everything. Breakfast is delivered to your room in a cardboard box every morning. It's not great, but we get there. So it's a very, very different Olympics, that's for sure. And hopefully I can bring you some over the coming weeks. There's restrictions on what I can and can't do, but I just wanted to highlight just what it was like to travel to Japan and what it's like to travel internationally right now, and how lucky we are that we're able to witness things like Formula One and the IndyCar series and domestic motorsport in New Zealand or countries that you're in, because boy oh boy, it's a tough old world out there. Anyway, onwards to IndyCar in mid-Ohio, normally the track that Dixon dominates at. Not quite the same this year, but what we've seen now is Joseph Newgarden enter into the frame. Always expected it, and if you look back at these championships over the last few years, it's been Dixon, Newgarden, Newgarden, Dixon, so on and so on. So to see Joseph up there now is not a surprise. He's now very much a championship contender. No Toronto race, won't be replaced, so this is a real run to the finish now. New track in there with the Nashville Street Race, which of course will be Joseph's home race. There's a lot that's going to unfold, and really mid-Ohio is kind of that point where we're starting to see some things develop. Pato O'Ward is in there, Alex Palau's in there, Dixie's certainly in there. He knows he's got to up the ante a little bit now, and Joseph's entered the frame. So we're seeing more individual winners again this season. Penske finally on the board. There's just so much more to come. But straight after the race, we had the ability, as always, through IndyCar to catch up with the race winner, Joseph Newgarden.
I'd start each stint and feel like I had everything under control. You get to the back end of it, and I thought I was starting to fall apart. So it was really hard to hang on, but I had my wingman Tim coaching me all the way, just making sure I knew what was up to date. But I don't know what to say other than they've been, this team's been doing the job. Everyone's been giving me a hard time, asking what's up with us not winning a race, but I don't think these people at Team Penske could have done anything different. We've been in the game almost every race, had great performance, and obviously great support from our partner in Team Chevy. So it's great to seal a win here finally on the year. We're going to need probably 3 or 4 more of these if we want to win this championship, but this team is capable of it. So I'm just excited to be back. 2 weeks off was enough, and to come back and finally get a win, I'm happy for our whole crew.
Onwards to Dixon, and a 4th place finish is still pretty strong when you consider the fact that his teammates also filled up the rest of the podium with Palau and Ericsson there. So 3 of the 4 Ganassi entries doing exactly what we'd expect them to do. And Jimmy Johnson always on the improve. Very much a hard task for him this year. But for Dixon, a 4th place finish, he's in the game.
Definitely a tough day. Just really struggled with the rear of the car. After each stint, just started to lose the rear. We tried to adjust for it, but never really helped. So I could never push, and it seemed like every time I did that, it just saved the fronts and the rears just got worse. Interesting day. Good job by Marcus and Alex. Good points for the team in general.
And then because I'm in Japan right now, I thought it very fitting that we catch up with Sato. Finished 10th here at Mid-Ohio. Sato's one of those drivers that, again, you just can't count out. The Rahal team tend to have these ups and down periods, but he's always there or thereabouts. So I felt it only fitting to put in the request with IndyCar. So here's some words from Sato straight after the race.
Mid-Ohio race, we got a 10th, starting from 19th. It's a difficult weekend. Got started well. I think there's some incident in front, and we avoided like twice in a row. So the restart, I think it was all good. Settled into the rhythm. Strategy-wise, after that, there's no yellow, so nothing really should do. I think everybody else is straight for the 2 stop. We stretched for the first one, and one of the late pit stop amongst the group. So that's enabled us to have a hard race, particularly in the ball day in the end, and make a place on the final lap. So it was good. I think it was a decent, not the best result we wanted, but starting from 19th and finishing top 10, we take it. We now want to a little summer vacation for the team and do a lot of analysis, and we will have 1 test in Laguna, so looking forward to the last part of the season. So thank you for your support.
Well, returning to the series again, Rinus VeeKay after missing 1 round at Road America, but he's back again now. He's not new to injuries this year. He had the finger injury after the testing accident at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and now this one, of course, from his mountain bike incident. But he had a good, strong race. Yes, not quite where we would normally see him, finishing, down in 16th, but he's still in the championship game. And I think Ed Carpenter Racing and Rinus, they know that they've got this ability to be able to be in the hunt, and I feel that they really will be.
So, tough race, really good opening laps and restarts. Got from 11th to 7th, and then we kind of got a little stuck behind traffic after the first pit stop, and we were just struggling on the black. So trying to keep the car on the track, which almost kept it on the track all the time, but not all the time. So struggling. Shoulder felt good though, so no problems with that, and on to Nashville.
Well, when you look at it, that's another round of the championship. They've got a bit of a break now, which also coincides with NBC's coverage from Tokyo here for the Olympics. But what we are seeing now, Alex Palau, still the championship leader. Certainly the gap shrunk a little bit to Pato O'Ward. Dixon's there, he's within shooting distance. Joseph Newgarden, suddenly he's a contender in 4th. Ericsson's there, another Ganassi car. So 3 of these Ganassi cars are proving that they've got the ability to be there. Simon Pagenaud from Penske, he's suddenly in the game and in 6th place. Colton Herta and VeeKay there, Rahal and then Sato, both the Rahal entries rounding out the top 10. So there's certainly plenty of championship contenders in there for New Zealanders wanting to know. Scott McLaughlin is 13th in the championship right now. I think he's doing an outstanding job. There's other tracks that are going to come to him this year. But man, it's been a tall ask and he's delivered well. So the championship, well and truly alive. Next up though, let's talk about the Motorsport Academy. Well, as you would have seen in our last show, me and Ali Wooten and Carmel Leslie from the Otago Academy of Sport were
at the Otago, or the Motorsport New Zealand Elite Academy Camp Week. I left there just a day or so before it finished to get myself up here to Tokyo in time to start this project that I have for Olympic broadcasting and coverage of the Olympics here from Tokyo. But in the end of the day, the winner of Camp Week, James Penrose from Christchurch, outstanding job, but I'm not saying anything against the other 7 kids that were there or other 7 guys that were there. You all did a great job. That was Camp Week. Now the year for these people goes on for an entire year. They get tuition across the year. They're going to get the benefit of all the academy program for the year. So really they've only done a very small part of it. But camp winner for 2021, James Penrose from Christchurch. Well done, James. Well done to everyone that completed the camp. You are all now members of the class of 2021, and there is a big journey ahead, that's for sure. Looking at other things, motorsport, well, obviously things are heating up a little bit in Formula 1. Max Verstappen on a bit of a roll. Silverstone this week, plenty to come there, I feel. Again, Formula 1 in a bit of a upsy-downsy period with its calendar right now, with no Singapore, and a few other races that have pulled out. But this championship's alive. I think Lewis has got a little bit of a battle on his hands. He's signed a contract to extend his stay at Mercedes, so the interest now certainly settles around that number 2 seat. Will it be George Russell, or will Valtteri Bottas end up staying? I kind of have views on both of them and wish them both the very best. So we'll see how that one plays out. Other points of interest this week, Marco Andretti expressing an interest that he wants to race in NASCAR, so that'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. Certainly he delivered a little bit at Indy, not to the same form that maybe we've seen him before, but he's a specialist when it comes to Indy 500, even though he's never won the race. Got very, very close in his debut year, so there is a fairly strong rumour that he could end up in a NASCAR next year, presumably a Cup car. So that will be very interesting to see how that plays out. Roger Penske announced that he still is talking to various engine manufacturers about coming into the IndyCar series. So there are more than the 2 that we currently have, Honda and Chevy. This has been the on-again, off-again, on-again, off-again story for years now, but there seems to be some motivation finally towards another manufacturer. Who will it be? I really, really don't know right now. It's got to be a manufacturer that sees the benefit of sales in the US, because that will be a very strong point when it comes to that. So we'll see how that one plays out. NBC saying that negotiations for coverage of IndyCar are still in good speed. They've said that they are, keen to renew where they are. CBS clearly now not interested, so it really falls back towards NBC. So I think we'll see that deal done fairly shortly. And then, of course, it's almost getting to that time of the year where we start talking about calendar for 2022. So I would assume that to be announced before the season's over for IndyCar. Hunter McElrea, well done there. He's back in the game again, and great confidence boost for him. And then both the Kiwis in USF 2000, Peter Vodonovich and Billy Fraser. Good effort at Mid-Ohio. A bit of an up and down, but this has been a big year for them. Long way from home, and I know how tough that is, especially sitting in a room that I'm in right now. It can be a very lonely place at times, and it certainly plays head games on you. So well done to all of them. Road to Indy and good flight. The series takes this break now. A lot of it is built around the fact that NBC's coverage in the US of the Olympics here from Japan is so strong, so the series has a bit of a summer hiatus. But when it comes back, both the Road to Indy series and IndyCar, it's game on to the end, and it'll be rapid fire as well. So everyone is going to have their act together. Well, there we have it, guys. It's another Racing World show for you this week, of course, brought to you from Tokyo. I'm just outside the hotel now, waiting to go to work. We're in our very restricted space, but I do hope that you enjoyed it. Obviously, the IndyCar series taking this little break right now. It's going to be a ripper of a last part of the season. Formula 1 at Silverstone next. Fantastic race as always. It's just bound to be good. British Grand Prix, one of those milestone events. Back home in New Zealand, South Island Endurance Series kicks off very soon. New cars there. Mark Pitch Motorsport debuting its new Nissans. So much going on. But whatever you do, this trip has really highlighted to me big time. Stay safe. Be very, very COVID aware. She's a very different place out there right now. Thanks so much for enjoying this show. Don't forget to share, like and subscribe. It means a heck of a lot to me personally that this show is doing what it's doing. And I guess for now I'll say arigato from Japan, and we'll see you again soon.